Hello and welcome. This is Crayons, just bringing you a quick guide for some user interface and some keybinds tutorial, I guess you can call it that. Let's jump right into it. So the first thing you're going to want to get is definitely my personal favorite would be Bartender, and I'll show you what it looks like here. You can get that off curse.com. Just search for Bartender, and for those who don't know how to install, I guess you could use the Curse client, but I usually just extract them into my World of Warcraft interface add-ons folder, exit out, restart the game. You also get a nice mini-map icon up here as well. When you click that, it actually makes it so that you can just go ahead and start moving your bars around. Now, when you first install this, your spells are going to be kind of jumbled around the screen in random spots for the most part. Some of them might be in place where you want them, but what I definitely recommend would be just take all your spells off the bars, and that way you have clean bars to look at, and then move them and put them however you want to position them on the screen. You can also keep bar snapping, which they'll just snap to other bars around them, which is what I have done here, except for this one, of course, because I want it placed a little bit off of these, and you can just uncheck that and move it around anywhere you want. And then if you want bar snapping, back to here, and see it'll just snap straight to the bars. There you go, like that. Alright, so I have just kind of normally like the default in a way. I have the two bars over here, which is, I just put random stuff that I don't really use, like profession stuff, or just a random mount, or like these three little keybinds over here that I just have for arena focus. I don't really need them on my main bar to look at. And you get about, 10? I think you get 10 bars here. You have a bag bar, which it'll show as one over here, just like that. What I do is I just uncheck that, unlock it, and then move it so it aligns up with the rest of it, so it actually looks like my bags are meant to be there, like that. Some bars will probably come unenabled. For me as a druid, those bars are actually the ones when I shapeshift forms. That way, like let's say bar 7, my shapeshift bar, when I do that, it's going to roll into bar 7, which is all those spells. So it doesn't matter that that's up there, because when I actually shapeshift, and you can see here, it actually shows up where it's supposed to, down here. Alright, so should be pretty simple to set up Bartender like such. Now on to keybinds, which you can also do in Bartender, which I love because of the simplicity of it. Keybinds. So just click keybinds here. Now, all you have to do is mouse over, and it'll show you what is currently keybind. So if you want to clear, just press escape like such, and then press the key that you want it bound to. Simple enough. And you can just continually go on down the line to every single thing you want to get keybinded. I also recommend that you keep character specific keybinds checked off. That way, when you switch between characters, the keybinds you've chosen for that character will stay the same. Otherwise, when you switch tunes, it will probably keep the same keybinds as your other tune, and you may not want that. I personally don't, actually. Alright, so I'd say a pretty easy day with keybinding here. Alright, so now you can see I have my bars set up exactly where I want, and I have my spells put on the bar exactly how I want. Now I'll go over how I personally like to keybind, and I keep the same format for every single one of my tunes. That way my muscle memory is already developed, and I'm only changing the spell itself and not the keybind I'm hitting. I want to maintain a fast response time. Now I mostly just do PvP, but it's also great for PvE as well. Alright, so I use the WASD keys to move. So I want to hit as many keys around that as I can for, like I said, fast response time. So I'm going to build my keybinding format based around the WASD. The first one would be is Q followed by E, R, F, G, B, and Z. And if you put your fingers on those keys, you can see how quickly you can hit it without actually having to move your hand off the WASD, so you can constantly keep moving around and casting spells. Now I modified those to get an extra set of 7 keybinds by using the shift key. So Q or shift Q, E, shift E, R, shift R, and on down the line. I have shift Z, but I actually use it for my flight form. I use T for auto run, so I can use shift T also as a keybind. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 is probably the quickest that you can get off. Once you start getting into 5 and 6, you start you have to start extending out too far, and then sometimes you may try to bring your hand back onto the WSD key and actually mess up and put it on ESDF. So I try not to overreach too much. So this shift 5 is on a 5-minute cooldown, so I know that I can keep my left pinky on the shift key and extend out to the 5. But only using that once every 5 minutes is not a real big deal. So here is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then shift 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, keeping all my keybinds kind of close together to my hand for the WASD movements. Here we go is the button 4 and shift button 4, which is the page back button on my mouse, and then I also have forward and shift forward, which is the page forward button on my mouse. So, and these are my mounts, so I'm not having to worry about spamming them that much. But the back button is very easy to hit with my thumb, so pretty quick there. I also have shift A, shift B, shift C, and shift X right here, as you can see, and shift tab as well. And this right here is the shift button 3, which is your mouse scroll button. You just hold the shift key down and just click down on your mouse scroll. Pretty easy. You can also do hold the shift key down and scroll up and scroll down. I don't need those extra keybinds on this character per se, but on my warlock for my teleport, drop to portal, and to shift or teleport to my portal, I use the shift scroll down and scroll up. Comes out pretty handy and makes it pretty easy. So these keybinds, I mean, I set it up basically so I could hit as many of these keybinds as I want extremely fast without having to take my hand off the WASD key. Now, this works out really well for me. It may not for you. You may like the keybinds you're already used to. You've already developed that muscle memory. But for those of you who are just starting out, it's a really good format, and it's good to build that muscle memory from early on. The earlier on, the better, as you're leveling up, of course. So that way, when you get to a high level, you've already got that there, and you've already got this stuff set up. So as you gain new spells, you can just drop them on the bar. All right. Now, obviously, I am Resto, so this right here is Healbot. It works for me. Some people don't like Healbot. It does get kind of glitchy sometimes and shows that someone's at like 80% when they're really at full. I don't see that too often, but I have seen it every once in a while. But it doesn't hinder my gameplay by using it. And I like this because without targeting anybody, I can set up different clicks. Like I said, I can have this guy targeted, and I can still hop myself up or cast regrowth on myself while still casting on this guy. So you can see how much quicker you can get everything off by not having to take the time to target something and then click a button. I definitely suggest, if you're not keybinding now, you start now. And it will be tough at first, but as you develop that muscle memory, it will get a lot easier. Alright, now this interface, this part right here is, I actually just started using, is Arena Live. You can get that off curse.com. What I like about that is it actually includes somewhat of Gladius, is the Arena PvP unit frame, and it includes, it's kind of like X-Pearl, which was just a different version of your character's portrait, your party windows, and everything like that. Arena Live actually conjuncted all that together and made it into one add-on, which is really nice. And I'll show you what that looks like right here. I'll just unlock the frame here so you can see. So right here is your party, and you can move this anywhere you want on the screen. This right here obviously is me, and this is my target, and it also has a little window for my target's target here. This right here is when you actually join Arena, you will see all your opponents in these windows here, and it shows all the cooldowns and trinket procs. You can also have it show the last casted spells. I think it lists up to like 5 or 6 of them. It shows what they have on cooldown and the time that it's coming back up. And let's say I cyclone somebody, that timer will come up right here, so I can see exactly when it's about to fall off. Again, this is really good for PvP. And right here is my focus frame. So when I set up my focus target, which I do have arena focus 1, 2, and 3 here, and those are just F1, F2, F3 because usually I'm gonna put it up in the beginning of the match there. Again, this is good stuff for PvP, but if you PvE, don't worry about this part. Alright, so now that I have all these windows set up just how I want, now I used to actually run my portrait here and my target here and target up here, but what I found is that I'm constantly having to look up here to see myself or my target, and then look down at my spells, and then look over here, and I really got tired of having to look around the screen so much, so I kind of brought it into the middle and just put it right there. That way I continually look forward, look at the field, or if you're doing PvE, you can see more and pay attention more without having to look too far at your own health or what the target's at. I find that to be much better. It did take me about 2 days to kind of get used to the switch because I found myself constantly looking at the top left corner, but after about a day or two of playing it, I started really seeing the benefits of just having everything kind of focused in here. And so now with all the keybinds, you can not focus so much on worrying about where the spells are and when a certain situation comes, where the button is and hit it. You can have that muscle memory developed already, so that way you can just hit the spell and you can maintain a visual on the field, and without having to look around too much, you can see your own self or your target. Alright, go ahead and lock the frame there. I think that should about wrap it up for this video. Any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. I will do my best to respond, and thank you very much for watching. Adios.